You are a good thing. Stop letting people, TV, men, etc. define you. God gave you the victory over everything the devil was trying to get you to think about. I learned that God goes above and beyond, and we cannot even try to guess the plans that He has for us, that we are not the author of our story. God is. Because faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the convictions of things not seen. And if you're waiting to be able to see the end result before you make a move, you're not moving on faith. The purpose is not a position or a job or a title. Purpose is a posture. God is going to take you on a journey, and it's not going to make sense now. Maybe when that thing clicks, you're going to see that it was all a part of the process. Be you, shine bright, and stay holy. And if that's not possible, then baby, take that up with God. Hey, holy people, welcome back to another episode of the Thoughts and Testimonies podcast. I am so excited that we are just breezing through the month of September. I am recording this episode a little bit early because I am going to be in Woman Evolve. And so the time that you hear this, I would just now be getting back. So I'm asking for your prayers because I just know that God is going to be doing something magnificent at this conference. And I am hoping and praying that I'll be able to give you all some wonderful recap episodes of Woman Evolve. And so just pray that, I'm able to kind of do the reflection I need on this experience. I mean, God has truly been working for me to just be able to get here to this place. There have been so many people that have blessed me along the way. And so I know that God is going to want me to speak on this testimony. So just pray that, God revealed to me what it is I need to share, how it is He wants me to share, who He wants me to invite. If you all have any questions, please let me know so that, we could recap, because I already know it's gonna be good. But on another note, we are continuing the month of September, and I told you all in the last episode that we're kind of talking this September about my journey, my quest with God to want to get to know Him relationally. It's one thing to know these things about God, but it's another thing to know Him for yourself. And I had this desire that I don't want to just know God and appreciate God because of what He does for me. I just want to have this appreciation for God simply for who He is, period, right? And so that was what kind of prompted this September theme of just getting to know God deeper. And so I talked about God Almighty being El Shaddai and these student loans. I talked last week about God being an ever-present God when my AC went out. And let me tell y'all, this week, I learned what it means for God to be omniscient and omnipotent. God being all-knowing and all-powerful. And let me tell y'all, because I ain't even going to be trying to be cute this episode. This is going to be a vent session. This is going to be a vent session because the way that I found this out, or the way in which this happened first, and God told me to reflect on it, was not a cute, oh God, thank you moment. It was, Holy Spirit, you're going to have to get my tongue because these people are stripping. So I don't know how long this episode going to be. I didn't even write really nothing out for this episode because when I was thinking about it, there's no way I could, package it to make it cute. Like, I was pissed. I was pissed. But when I put my spiritual glasses on, God said, let's see it through. Let's see it how I see it. And so here we are today. So I'm going to start off with reading Psalm. So last week, as we were talking about God being God being ever present, God being everywhere at the same time, I read out of Psalm 139, and I read a few verses from David that talked about how no matter where he goes, whether it's the west, whether it's hell, whether it's wherever, God is there. And so I want to read that same chapter, but I want to read the few verses that come before this. And so in Psalm 139, verse 1, David says, Lord, you've searched me and you know me. Okay. Verse 2, you know when I sit down and when I stand up. You understand my thoughts from far away. You observe my travels and my rest. You are aware of all of my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know all about it, Lord. You have encircled me. You have placed your hand on me. This wondrous knowledge is beyond me. Like I'm overwhelmed with worship by just how much you know me. It is lofty and I'm unable to reach it. And so that was Psalm 139, 1 through 6. And now, last week's episode, we read 7 through 12. And so I think it's when things like this happen where, God brings my attention to one verse, but then he has me go back, and dig a little deeper. I knew that there was something there that I missed that I needed to see again. And last week when I read that psalm, and now I done read this psalm about 4, 5, 50 million times. It's all marked up and down. I didn't have this revelation that I had. So God was like, revisit this thing. I was like, I already know this. Lord, you searched me and you know me. He's like, no, read deeper because you want to know me deeper. And these few verses, I'm telling you that I know everything about you. I'm telling you that I'm an omniscient God. And so I'm appreciative for this. But let me tell y'all how we got here. Again, this ain't gonna be cute. Take whatever screenshots, clips you need, because you're gonna see a different side of me. So I work at a community college. Yes, I work in higher education. Many of you all probably do not think that that is a career, but yes, my career is working at a college and helping students. And so I am helping students get through the admissions process. I specialize in helping students coming from high school into college. And so with that, we have a lot of what we call early college programs. So we have programs where students are at the high school earning college credit for their high school classes through a program we have called dual enrollment. We also have a scholarship program, which is what I oversee, that students come on the weekends and take college classes with us at the same time they're in high school, and we pay for them. That's what I oversee. We also have, just some students who want to get ahead, and in between their classes, they take classes with us. They're called a concurrent program or under 18 admissions. And so we kind of oversee and manage all of that. But we also work with our graduating seniors, kind of helping them through. Now, last week, I kind of preferenced that this is our peak season. And so what I mean when I say that is our peak season we have for the various programs that we have. Dual enrollment is our absolute beast. So many people participate in it because it's not a lot of commitment from the student. Not a lot changes for them. They're at their high school, they're taking classes there. They don't have to come to our campus, but they're getting the college credit. And a lot of times it's discounted or it's free. And so we have some students who, have taken a full semester because they're in all these AP and AB classes that when we as a college look at the curriculum saying this is what we're teaching in our college, we'll give you college credit for it. A lot of families take advantage of the opportunity. Completely understand, right? My child, I would want them to do the same too. So to give you some context, okay, a lot of the times the community colleges, now I'm not going to say all, but a lot of times the community colleges, technology wise, are a few steps behind some of the universities and the research one institutions, whether that's through funding or whether that's just with the student population we have, we have to kind of evolve a little slower. When I came into this role in the pandemic in 2020, I learned that that was their first year doing everything online. That's right, you heard me. I work in college admissions and recruitment, and prior to me coming in, everything, including the admissions application, everything, including picking classes, all that wonderful stuff, paper applications. So they would go to the schools, they would collect all these paper applications, come back and process everything by hand. Now, what do I mean when I say process everything by hand? Great question. My office, even though we are recruitment, we are a one-stop shop when we go into the high schools. So we are cross-trained in a lot of different areas, including admissions and records. So when you think back to the time that you went to college, or if you think about you getting a new job, right? You got to submit your ID. For college, you got to submit your transcripts. You have to make sure you're able to place into the class. If you're trying to go into calculus, but you didn't do college algebra, sorry, you can't do it, right? All of these checks and balances, enrolling the student, sending out the funding, right? Approving the funding, all that stuff we do. Not a lot of colleges within my district do that. Say all that to say, here we are, 3 years. We have an online system, but it's still new, right? It's not the most efficient. I described to one of my girlfriends on Bible study the other day, it's like if you take a college that has never did anything online before and you have them do stuff all of a sudden online. We got the Internet Explorer version of stuff, right? Like when we think about all this remote stuff, like we ain't got Zoom. Everybody's companies was using Zoom. We don't have Zoom, right? We have the Internet Explorer version of remote work and all the things. So we work with what we got. And there's nothing wrong with that. It works, but it is overwhelming for a small office, for a small college to go through all of this, with the amount of students we have. So we over 3,000 students are going through this process. And it takes us at least like 5 minutes per student to process what we need to process. But we're also the people going out in the schools, giving the presentations, doing the recruitment. So say all that to say it's exhausting. It is tiring. The students, the parents get frustrated. We get frustrated because it's not an easy system. But I tell students, you're getting college credit. You're in high school, but you're completing college admissions applications and things. So they expect it to be real quick and easy. And I'm like, you're actually applying for college. It's not going to be easy, right? But we have to do all of this. Go talk to the students, recruit them, help them with the forms, which there's like 50 million forms they need to do. We have to do all this in 45 days or less. It's tiring. It's exhausted. I'm beyond exhausted. I'm beyond overwhelmed. And I know the rest of my coworkers are too, but we truly have a great team. Everyone has the students' best interests at heart. We go the extra mile for our students. Like if there's any tech issues or tech glitches, we solve them. I earned the nickname, Tech Genius, because whether it's a spreadsheet or whether it's me troubleshooting, why you're not able to get into your account or your account's inactive, let's reactivate. We're doing all the things, right, to make sure that our students can get through this process. So I say all that to say, when we are not able to troubleshoot, my God, today, when we are not able to collectively as a group solve the issue, we got to call IT. And I love IT. I'm thankful for IT, right? But then there's some problems that even our local IT, they're like, this is above us. You got to send it up the chain to our district IT. And you would think, y'all district IT, y'all should have all the answers. Y'all have all the behind the scenes to all the programs, all the everything. Just push a button, reset stuff. That is where we get most of our hiccup. So I'm going to attempt to tell y'all about this interaction I had with a wonderful customer service agent with my district IT. And I will preface this by saying this is no fault to him. I'm very confident he knows how to do his job. I'm very confident of the things. But when you're in this peak season and when the students are frustrated and we're trying to solve an issue the best we can, sometimes the questions they ask you, you be like, and you don't think that we tried that. That's like calling your TV provider and they say, well, did you try to turn it off, turn it on? That's the first thing y'all always tell us to do. Yes, we did that. Yes, that's why we're calling you. So I'm going to try my best to talk about this as smoothly with the spiritual eye that God has given me now about the situation, but bear with me. So we have this student who last year tried to go through this process and her account was just frozen for whatever reason, and we were not able to figure it out. She almost lost credit for the class that she was in, so she came to campus. She couldn't do it, so we ended up having to enroll her in the class because we didn't have enough time to figure it out. So the student comes back this year and she's learned her lesson. She was like, Miss, last year y'all almost didn't give me college credit for this class. I want to come in early so we can figure it out so that I'm straight. So to my knowledge, I'm not the first person she's come to. She's already worked with 3 of my other coworkers in our office already. Okay. So I'm like, I got to be the one to solve this. Like, sisters keep coming in. If I was a customer, if I was a student and I've came to your office, not only last year multiple times, but this year already 3 times in 2 weeks, I'm frustrated. And I don't like for people to feel that way because I do believe that I'm a light in this world. I do believe that I'm a change agent, meaning that whenever someone comes across with me, they have an interaction with Jesus. And what I know and what I feel from Jesus is what I put out, right? I know that he is love. I know that he is peace. I know that he is not chaos. I know that he is joy. And so when people come in contact with me, I want them to experience that. So whereas you might come in frustrated about a problem, you're met with kindness and you're able to be like, you know what? It's going to be okay. That's my interaction. That's what I set out to do in my daily life at work. So that's what I was on a mission for with this student. But it got to a point right where we're like, we've tried everything. I've tried every trick of the trade that I know. I can't help you. Let's do the IT ticket. The IT, my local IT said, go and submit a district IT test. And so as I'm talking with my coworkers, we kind of know, we think we know what the issue is because we haven't seen the problem that she had with her account. We hadn't seen that before. And so we're like, it has to be this. Because in every other circumstance we've seen, we've been able to fix it. But for something, this screen that we're seeing is new, it has to be related to this. And so as we're talking with my coworker, I realized she's already put in a help desk ticket about that issue. And they said it was fixed and resolved. Obviously, it's not. So I put in another help desk ticket. I called this wonderful gentleman because I put in the help desk ticket. I'm calling you to be like, listen, we finna escalate this because homegirl been waiting for weeks. So I called him and he, very nice. You know, I said, hey, I'm calling in regards to ticket number, you know, blah, 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 blah. He says, oh, you submitted it just a few minutes ago. Give us some time to process. No. You're going to stay on this phone and hear me out. Yes. Very good. Okay. So, I tell him that this is not the first help desk ticket we've submitted for this student and for her problem. And at this point, she's frustrated. She keeps coming to campus. She is not having a positive interaction with any of our colleges, with any of our systems, right? And that should not be the case. So I asked him to look up the other help desk ticket. And he was like, oh yeah, it was resolved. I said, but it's not. It's not resolved. So can you walk me through what they're saying is resolved? And that's another thing. All they said was it's resolved. What did you do? We want to know what the problem was. And so as I'm talking with him, he realizes, he's like, oh, this was routed to the wrong person. Like, this shouldn't have went to this department. It should have went to another department. And so now it brings up even more questions. Well, what was resolved if they had nothing to resolve in the first place? And so then my question is start making him investigate a little more. And he's like, hold on now, let me take a look at this. So Long story short, I had a 30-minute long conversation with him in which he is walking me through, I'm telling him the symptoms of the student's account, and he's walking me through which department it should be routed to and why. Right? So you have departments who manage, is the student in the system at all? Do we have an account created for her? We also have a security team where when you do, your two-factor authentication, like if you log into Instagram, it's like, hey, is this you? Push this. We have that team. And so he's walking me through this, but then he stops and he says, it's really important that you pay attention to how you word your help desk tickets. So now Maya Gaston, Miss Maya Gaston, is not on this line anymore. It's just simply Maya. Okay. And I'm like, excuse me? Because we've been on the phone for 30 something minutes. I've already told you the students came in several times. We're all frustrated. And you tell me that our issue hasn't got resolved because we did not know how to word it correctly? Are you kidding me? And he says, yes, first off, you didn't provide all the information you needed to provide. You didn't provide the student's ID number. I said, yes, I did. I put the student's ID number in the description of the thing. He says that needs to be in the subject line. Okay. Then he says, and you really shouldn't use the word, ID management. That's what the issue was. You really shouldn't use that word. You should use, a different word. I don't remember what he said. And he was like, because when you say that, the system is triggered to send it to this department, but it's the wrong department. So he proceeds to tell me you should select this and this and this. And so I said, hold on. I said, because I swear I was doing this right. As you're telling me this, let me walk through it. So I'm walking through on my end and I say, I don't have access to that. I don't have access to select the department. I don't have access to change the category. He says, oh, you know what? You're right. He said, with your level of access, all you can do is put in the request. And when it goes to us, we route it to the right people. So I said, hold on now. Because you initially told me that it was routed to the wrong person. And you're blaming me for it because of how I wrote it. But now you're saying that I don't have control over that and that it was you all and that you routed it to the wrong place. And so I was just so absolutely frustrated with him. And so he gave me a very long 20-minute lecture about how to appropriately write a help desk ticket. Completely unnecessary. I mean, I'm thankful for the information because hopefully that, causes us to solve problems quicker in the future. But completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary in terms of we got nothing done. You did not get me quicker to my solution at all. And I was very frustrated. Like I started to feel, when you get angry, you start to feel the heat rising in your body. And the student was sitting in front of me, so I knew, I was like, you know what? I can't let this faze me. But it was extremely frustrating to know that we did everything that people asked us to do. We submitted the help desk tickets. We trusted that it was in the right hands with the right people. And all because of a technicality, all because they routed it to the wrong person, and all because the email was worded wrong, that they were not able to address the problem. And so I didn't think nothing of this situation. But then as I started to pray and as I started to ask God to prepare me for this podcast episode, he told me to think about this situation. And I said, what is there to think about this situation, God? And literally all I heard was, aren't you glad that I'm not like that? I said, what? Aren't you glad that I'm not like that? Aren't you glad that when you submit a request in your prayer, that I am able to interpret what you mean, even when you don't know how to express it? Aren't you glad that it will always get routed to the right person? That you will never have to be frustrated with figuring out how to communicate with me because I know everything about you. And I said, my God, today you better come on here in this room with a whole thought and testimony about IT help desk tickets. I'm telling y'all, God will use some situations in your life to reveal stuff to you. And I was extremely thankful for this reminder. And even more thankful for the psalm that we read, because David said, you understand my thoughts far away. Before a word is even on my tongue, you know all about it. And so it's a reminder to me that, yes, he's everywhere at all places at all times, like we talked about last week, but it's important to know that he is all knowing, that he is an all knowing God. And it's comforting to know that if I don't have the words, that doesn't mean like progress in my life is going to be at a standstill. If I don't know how to accurately communicate to God, or maybe I'm distant, right? Maybe I've been distant from God and I don't talk to him like how a daughter should talk to him, because we've been off for a little while. So I'm more so talking to him like a stranger with those surface level conversations, that he knows the deeper and he's able to interpret that and still give me what I need. I'm so thankful that my God is not like these IT customer service people. And again, that's no shade to them. That is no shade to them at all. But I'm thankful that when I submit my help desk ticket to God, which is my prayer, that it doesn't matter about the subject. It could be about anything. It doesn't matter about the content that I'm asking him about, that he's able to interpret it. And not only is he able to interpret it, that he's the right person for every single request. I don't have to worry about categorizing it and sending it to the right people. I don't have to worry about it being routed to the wrong person. Like, oh, you're asking for forgiveness. Let me send that over to the forgiveness angel. Oh, you're asking for a miracle. Let me put this in queue for our miracle. But I don't have to worry about that happening. When I submit a request, it's always going to get routed to him. He's always going to hear it, and he's always going to know not only what I'm saying, what I want, but what I need and the things that I'm not saying. And sometimes that's even more important than what you are saying. But the other revelation that I had about this is, not only in this example is he telling me about how omniscient he is, about how all-knowing he is, but he's also telling me about how omnipotent he is, how all-powerful he is. Because when I was talking to the help desk ticket about the student, and I was very confused about how does it get routed to the wrong person, and they tell me the solution is solved, but you're telling me they don't have the power to do what I asked them to do. How does that happen? And it's because they thought they fixed the problem. They thought they resolved it with what they're able and capable of doing, but they didn't have the access to fix the root of the problem. So when we think about plants, right? If I'm saying I don't want this plant to be here, right? I want to remove this weed, and you just cut off the top, it's resolved. It's not there. But the problem, the root of the problem is still there. And so until you address the root of that, your issue is always going to be there. And that was what I was reminded of with God. God being not only all-knowing, but also all-powerful, is that he is capable and is able to fix any and everything that we need, no matter what it is. He is able to do miracle signs and wonders, right? So even if it's the small thing, Lord, I got this pain in my stomach, help me out. Or, Lord, I need this bill to be paid. Whether if it's as small as that or as big as, Lord, I need you to raise this person from the dead. I need you to heal this person from cancer. I need you to make a way out of no way. He has the power to do all that. And he had the power when Jesus rode up from the grave. He's always had the power, to be clear. Now we have access to that power. And so you don't have to worry about putting in the hands of man. You put it in the hands of man, they like them IT people. You be like, oh, it's resolved. But no, you still have trauma at the core of your heart that you need to work through. And the only person that's going to help you with that is God. So I was so frustrated that my IT help desk ticket was routed to the wrong person. But I was comforted when I took it up with God. And his response was, "Aren't you glad that I'm not like that?" And so thank God, my God is not like these customer service agents that we get on the phone who, no matter how much you're like, this is my lived experience. I'm telling you, this is what's wrong. I'm telling you, I can't break this habit. I'm telling you that I won't be healed. I'm telling you, I've lived through it. People have tried to save me before, but I'm just not going to be able to get delivered from this. No matter what you say, no matter what you're telling them, you have a God. We serve a God that knows the truth, that knows the real truth, that knows everything, the insides and outs of the problems, because he created everything. But he also has the power to fix it no matter what you think won't be able to be fixed. He has the power to fix it. So I don't know why God wanted me to share this. Okay. I don't know why he wanted me to talk about this district IT help this ticket. I was like, Lord, this is boring. These people's not going to like this. I don't know why he placed this on my heart to share. And even further, when I attempted to try to write it out, I don't know why he wouldn't allow me to think about it. He said, just speak. I'm going to give you the words to speak. And so this is for somebody. I don't know who it is, but pray that God gives you a deeper revelation of who he is for yourself. Don't go off of what your mama know. Don't go off of what your auntie, your grandmama and them, your friend girl know about God, about Jesus, about any of this. Ask him to reveal it for yourself. And it's okay if you don't understand what the Bible says. That's why we have the Holy Spirit to help us, to give us wisdom and discernment. Because you never know. God might give it to you in a way that you understand, like how me. I said, God, all right, now sometimes I be getting these words mixed up. I need you to help make it plain for me. And he made it plain by talking about what I'm already been going through, talking about the air conditioning, talk about a district IT help desk ticket. But I know those are lived experience I've been through. And now I know what it means to know that God's all knowing. I know what it means to have an appreciation that God is all powerful. I know what it means to have an appreciation that God is everywhere at any time. Right? So pray that he gives that to you. Pray that he reveals that to you. And I'm telling you, I feel so much better about the situations, because I can't even be mad at, oh boy, I can't even be mad at him because of that experience, you led me to a deeper encounter with God. So how can I be mad or frustrated, over you taking the time to try to explain that to me when that's really not what I needed you to do at the moment? But, God works everything out for the good. So that's the testimony I have this week. Again, continue to pray that I am able to digest what has happened, what is going to happen at Woman Evolve, or this point that you all hear this, what has happened. And just keep me lifted up in prayer. I do not take this lightly. I do not take lightly being able to share with you all about God, about Jesus. I know that I'm being held accountable to every single word and that I share with you all. It is not a light undertaking. And so it takes a lot out of me. So I'm just asking that you all just pray for me, pray over me, that I continue to have the time, the energy, and the just discernment to be able to hear God, not only for what I need him for, but for what you all need him for. Everyone is going through stuff. Everyone is going through trials and tribulations. And so I pray that when you listen or watch, that God is giving you something that you need for that moment in your life, for that season in your life. So continue to keep me lifted up in prayer as I keep you lifted up in prayer the same. But I'm going to close out here and start packing up my stuff to go to Woman Evolve. So who you see right now, I guarantee you is going to be extremely different when I return. But I love y'all people. Don't forget to be you, shine bright, and stay holy. And if that ain't possible, then baby, take that up with God, because he's all knowing and all powerful and all ever present. Love y'all.